What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS.
Established over 100 years ago, Watkins Books is one of the world's oldest and leading independent bookshops specializing in esoterica. We have the widest selection of esoteric books in the UK, and our friendly and knowledgeable staff are here to assist you in a unique ambience of our shop. So come and visit us in the heart of London as we're open every day.
Does your book, film, resource, product, or business change people's lives for the better? Hi, I'm Jackie Lappin, founder of Conscious Media Relations, a unique boutique PR firm that helps you connect with your mind, body, spirit, and conscious lifestyle audience in a big way. We reach 3,500 specialty media and all the key mainstream outlets in the United States. I invite you to explore our radio media tour that connects to 2,600 personal growth radio shows. There is just nothing else like it. Come check out our website and read our rave reviews.
The comments and views expressed on The More Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The More Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online. You're now watching the UK's only alternative late night talk show, and I'm your host, Kevin Moore. For the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. On today's show, I'm joined with Kerry Cassidy, who is a documentary filmmaker and investigative journalist, and a well-known radio talk show host of Project Camelot, Whistleblower Radio, and Camelot TV. Her website, projectcamelot.org, is a leader in the alternative media sector, with a YouTube channel that has millions of views worldwide and over 117,000 subscribers. Now, Kerry travels the world conducting interviews and documenting the testimony of whistleblowers with above top secret clearances, as well as authors, researchers, and experiencers, covering conspiracies, the secret space program, black projects, ETs, Kundalini, and ascension and free energy. Now, today's interview with Kerry is going to mainly concentrate on her Indiegogo campaign. So unfortunately we won't be covering too much on Project Camelot's background and also different testimonies from whistleblowers. But without further ado, Kerry Cassidy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on. Periodically, I'm always checking out Project Camelot. I think it's just fantastic. The guests you get on there, they are so cutting edge in a sense. I know many people, that are into this subject, yet, and always, talk about Project Camelot because everyone likes a whistleblower.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah, and I suppose that's always what you've specialized in the sense, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Since actually it's almost 10 years of being in operation now. And we did specialize from the beginning in whistleblowers from above top secret. So that's what it's all about. And then I branched out to, of course, experiencers, authors, researchers, and below top secret as well. I mean, we're just I guess you might say an equal opportunity shop, and I'm very interested in the truth wherever it happens. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, and I think it's also amazing the service that you've done to the subjects as well, and also subjects that we cover, for example, both of us or other talk shows that you've been on. I think it's fantastic at the success that you've had, and hats off to you really, because I know how tough it is to build a YouTube channel in this field. And Project Camelot's done amazing with over plus 114,000 subscribers and more, and the amount of millions upon millions of views that you've had as well. So, congratulations on that success.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. I am starting a new channel, as you know, as well. And actually, we have over 117,000 subscribers right now as we speak. And yes, of course, that's been since the beginning. We've been a grassroots organization attracting people because we decided from the get-go to put our interviews out for free on YouTube, and we sort of stuck by that for all these years. And on top of it, I've done conferences as well as what I'm doing right now, which is to branch into Project Camelot TV network.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many ways we could take this interview, but I think really I want to stay concentrated. I mean, we will divert into places, but sure. let's talk about what you're doing now as well, because that's really important. What you're trying to achieve. Just to explain to the audience what the next step or evolution of what you're trying to do now is.
Okay, well, obviously we've been investigating and doing documentary interviews. First, we traveled the world with a camcorder, and we were very unusual in that we had just the two of us. At that time, I had a partner, Bill Ryan. He's English, and we spent the first 3 years really working together, and then towards the last year was kind of up and down, and we ended up splitting at the last year. So since then, I've been running Camelot on my own and with the help of a webmaster, depending on who that was. And for most of those years, it was Tommy Hansen who was helping out, and he was working for free a good part of that time. Towards the end, I was paying him, but of course, not a whole lot of money. We've existed on donations for all these years, and that's been a miracle, really. Right now, we are sort of embarking on this new enterprise, which I have the poster here behind me, and it's Project Camelot TV Network. It is another grassroots sort of enterprise, but in this case, we've started an Indiegogo campaign. We're raising funds to make this channel happen, and we started without anything. In other words, just on YouTube, using a new YouTube channel, and we were in operation on that for around I think it was 4 weeks, and then someone deleted the entire channel off of YouTube, and that happened about a week ago. And now we found out, I had some correspondence with the legal department at YouTube. In essence, it appears it was not them. it was not an official exercise on their part. It had to do with some kind of hacking inside of YouTube and outside of YouTube. And there were other things that went on at the same time. My website was down for 20 hours, the Project Camelot portal.com. And on top of that, there is a place which was, in essence, you might say, stealing our videos from Project Camelot TV and putting them on their own website. It was called Watch Ninja, something like that is the name of the company. And even whoever took us off of YouTube also went in and took us off of their channel. So it's quite interesting that they were operational both inside and outside of YouTube. And like I say, when I wrote to YouTube about it, they said I took it down. And obviously I would never do that to myself. And so when you look into it further, and when I wrote to them further, they just were none the wiser. So now we have relaunched the channel, and we're, as I speak, putting up all the videos. We didn't lose. I don't think we lost any, hopefully, but in the process, we had been making backups and all of that sort of thing. So on top of it, we've now launched our own player on our own servers, and we will be off of YouTube as well. So we're going to have our network. We're doing what we should have done with all the funding that we're hoping to raise early on. I'm laying out of pocket right now just to have an insurance policy, I guess, in case someone inside of YouTube or whoever it was hacked us a week ago does so again, God forbid, right? But that's the long story. So there's the Indiegogo campaign, and you can go to that. It's, the links are on my website. If you see this poster anywhere, you just click the poster and find us. We also have a channel that is located on projectcamelottvnetwork.com. So you can go there and watch our videos there. That's just kind of coming into being. And needless to say, we need, I've got a team right now. It's a very small team, one techie, two show producers, and then I've got about 11 hosts that have been doing shows for me, the ones that got wiped off of YouTube. But like I say, we didn't lose them. We're putting them back online, and we're continuing operations. But we're really looking to have a secure setup where we can protect ourselves, have all the bells and whistles that a channel would have. We want to be 24/7. So we want to get the truth out around the clock. We want to have, obviously, whistleblowers and contactees, as well as investigators, researchers, and give them their own TV shows, in essence. And we'd like to be on Apple TV and Roku, and really, it's time for an alternative TV network that can really happen. And for some reason, this just pretty much doesn't exist. Not from the really alternative sector that we're part of.
No, I mean, there were others like David Icke who started out the People's Voice. I think it was last year or the year before. They raised over 450,000-ish pound in the first go, and then another 100,000 in the second go, and it all went. It all went because there was lots of mistakes made. My background is in TV and radio. I was an electronics engineer for some time, and I know how to make these things, and I know exactly what you're describing, playout servers and all that kind of stuff. I know what it costs, and the one thing it is, when setting something like this up is it can soon spiral out of control if you're not careful with it. You need to attract the right people who are there to help you to get that at the lowest cost possible, the solution that you're looking for. And it's not easy. It's not easy work, finding these people sometimes. Yes. And I think the intention of where you're coming from has got to be right as well, which I know it is. Absolutely it is with yourself.
Thank you.
But what you're taking on there is it's a big thing. And so what? Why now? Why now for you?
After 10 years of doing this kind of like on my own, and with one partner, I have to say that it's kind of a way to give back everything I've learned over the years and to share that. I'm obviously continuing to do a show and broadcasting and so on, but I wanted to widen the playing field, I guess you might say. And because we do have a very loyal following, what has happened is whenever I interview somebody, they almost become an instant overnight celebrity, at least in this field. And they go on to be interviewed by everyone under the sun, in essence. And I've seen that trend now for years and years. And I just thought to myself, well, Camelot has always been a centralized hub in which you could get, the way we did our interviews was such that we leave it open for the viewer to decide what's going on. We're not about proselytizing or preaching or saying this is how it is. It's more an interview. I have a disclaimer on my website. I don't necessarily agree with all the things my interviewees say, but I do believe in the firm right for them to be able to say what it is they think is true. I'm not saying they're never lying. I can say that, whistleblowers, for example, have to sometimes tell falsehoods in order to stay alive. That's their trade-off. They are not, just because they become whistleblowers doesn't mean they're suddenly free from, the hidden hand, if you will. And so a lot of people don't understand that distinction. They don't realize that whistleblowers are still being tagged and followed and basically efforts at mind control. You can't say that they're successful necessarily. If they're astute enough to get out from under that, then maybe they stay the line and they manage to continue to tell the truth all the way through. But again, there will be trade-offs. They have families oftentimes. Loved ones like anyone. And they really, you can understand. So what I would say is within reason, they are telling the truth as they know it. If I interview somebody, that's usually the real caveat that I have, that they believe what they are saying, which isn't to say that what they are saying is true.
Yeah, because I believe obviously there's been some interviews that you've never released. I mean, very, very few. I think Nick Pope was maybe one of them that never made its way through, and for reasons that you've explained before, that it was just the party line all the way down with Nick, unfortunately. But as you say, you're going to provide a platform that really is going to express many truths, because in this work, as you've come across it all these years, there's never one truth, or there's never one person saying the same truth as the other person. Sure. It doesn't seem to be like that, does it?
No, for sure, it's we call it the big picture. Like we're painting a big picture, and this is again to answer your original question: is why I decided to create a network. I thought we are stronger together. If we stand together, that we have a very good chance of garnering a larger audience. Because whereas we have a large audience for our sector, if you put us next to CNN or some other major media company, all of which are basically dictating what everything people see, listen to, and read at this time, we can't hold a candle to their numbers necessarily. I mean, we're doing okay, but we really need to branch out, and we are speaking to some degree, as people will say, to the people that are already followers of this information. Yeah. So it's very important to get the word out, and because there's a large backbone of truth in everything that we've researched all over these years and had testimony about, there is a sort of a big picture that has been painted. And for that purpose, what I want to do is actually bring the very people I've interviewed and give them around the clock voice so that they can speak to the people, every day. I mean, I can't tell you how many times there's a false flag or some international incident in which I get feedback, of course, because I've got all the contacts and the years of contacts with these people. And sometimes I'll approach them, or they'll just volunteer and they'll say, this is a false flag and this is the kind of gun they used and this is what they're really doing and blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? And then I will report for them, citing their name if they asked me if it's okay, or I'll have them as a guest or whatever. But envision a time when we're having a lot of mass change happening all around us, and false flags, earth changes, electromagnetic disturbances, UFOs, as what is really going on right now. And then think to yourself that people like us, myself included, are always looking, where do we go to hear dialogue about what's going on, to get the evidence, to have the real evidence presented. So this is an opportunity for us to gather together all of the great hosts, all of the great whistleblowers, and basically put them on one network so that when something happens, they can all report from their various viewpoints what's going on and add things together much quicker and much faster. Normally you have to surf the whole web and go, every other, imaginable place. Camelot has done this now for years, and we have aggregated content in a certain way. So this is just what the network will be capable of. On top of it, we want to have, we have a very large grassroots following. So we have people with, from young kids to people with, elderly, that have iPhones and that have been researching themselves and that can go to a scene, photograph it live or take stills and really put that stuff out there. It would be an amazing power to be able to do that.
There's never been a better time for it as well, because through these devices, we can now consume our media. We don't need conventional TV sets where the families sit in front of anymore to reach. There's many ways to transmit nowadays, and I'm sure there's many ways that you can grow this platform as well. I mean, there can be some really enlightening content that can go on here, and I suppose for yourself, reaching enlightenment is the sort of end game, is it not?
Yes. This is something I always say, and I felt that I was somewhat out there by myself saying it, so it's great to hear you say it. But yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game on planet Earth when all's said and done. So everyone's on that same path, the dark and the light, believe it or not. And so, yeah, that's crucial. And we, when we work together, I think working together is sort of moving down the path in making progress with humanity, because one of the things that the dark side has always been working very hard to do is to keep us isolated from each other, and to keep us sort of at war with each other. And so if we say stop, and that, we don't want to be at war anymore, we don't need to be at war, we don't need to fight their wars for them, then we're in a whole different playing field, and the people have the power.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It was always my wish one day to have a network, a TV network, where it brought together everyone, from the people like, shows like from the Edgar Cayce Center to the Newton Institute to anyone that's not, and obviously whistleblowers as well, but just as many people as providing a platform where they can broadcast on, to even channeled messages as well. I mean, they're all valid in a sense, yeah. And yes, they're all coming from love. They're all coming from self-improvement, saying that, hey guys, tap on the head, it doesn't need to be so difficult what you're doing. So really hats off to you for what you're trying to do, and I guess no matter how this project turns out, whatever happens will be for the best and better that you could even imagine now, probably.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I have to say that it's kind of like, I don't know, casting a stone into a pool in the dark. I don't know where the ripples will go, and I don't actually know how we're going to survive, to put it bluntly. I can say that we have a business plan. I can say that we put a lot of thought into this. I've been working on this now for nearly a year before I got like a download that told me to do this, in essence. So it's been quite a long, interesting trajectory for the past year. And like I say, I have certain people that are on my team. Paladin, who's a white hat, who is a forensic financial investigator, who was well known among the white hats for publishing a blog called darkcabalblogspot.com, I think it is. And a lot of information about him on my website. He also writes a column for me on Project Camelot portal.com from time to time. And so his background is finance, but he's helping as the CFO of this company, this new enterprise. And on top of it, I have, a wonderful young techie in Ireland who's working kind of like round the clock in hopes of having a job when we're all done with this that pays him, as one of his first jobs out of college kind of thing. So then I've got two producers, one in Europe and one in America, just working their asses off, if you don't mind my saying, to really help the hosts broadcast their shows. And as a host, you can, doubtless say that doing everything on your own is really, really difficult. You really need a technical producer there to help make things move smoothly. And so we do have those people, and it's not easy. We're going to have a subscriber base that's also going to be, you can opt out of ads and pay a little more, or for free. You can subscribe and watch for free, but you see ads. That's the trade-off, right? So we're going to have that kind of a model, a business model. On top of it, we want to pay our hosts. I've been doing radio around internet radio for the last 5 years, I think it is. And we never made a dime doing that. And lots of people, some of your most well-known people out there doing radio are making nothing, just zero. And I thought that was an injustice. I thought that, why shouldn't we, who are putting out the truth far more than any other, major network like CNN, et cetera, who are packaging, disinfo, really, when all's said and done, why shouldn't our people make money, make a living doing what they love to do? There's no harm in that. So I want to pay my hosts. I'm really a stickler for that. But the other thing about it, if you want to go kind of hark back to David Icke, the difference I think here is that, first of all, we're virtual to begin with. We're not buying, a big building anywhere at all. We're not buying a building at the moment. I don't know if that's possible down the line or not, to tell you the truth, or even advisable. But at the moment, we're totally virtual. So that means that our hosts are going to be in places like Hong Kong, which we already have an animal activist, Jacqueline, who's broadcasting on our network, I'm proud to say. And we have other potential hosts in places like Australia. We've got people in France right now, wonderful host, Mark Gray, who's doing a UFO show out of France. It's lovely to have, to gather these people together in one place, and they come from such different points of view with such, fascinating areas of investigation. And this is where the world can come together in a setting.
Absolutely, and I think another thing I find about this whole field, as I've spent many years interviewing people, is that, I try to come from the best intention. Yeah, I do. Yet there's others out there who just do not want to work with anyone. They don't. I don't see the future of this field unless we all come together. But the majority do not want to come together. They do not want to work together, or I don't know. That's the gist I get sometimes. Not everyone, but some of the bigger players don't. It's like, well, hang on. We're supposed to be here to be helping others and helping ourselves, of course. But that's the natural side effect of helping others. But I did not get that feeling sometimes for people. There's a lot of bullshit sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, behind the scenes, having run, I actually did 3 what are called Awake and Aware conferences, and I'm hoping to do another one actually in the spring this year, 2016. And but I can say that when you do a conference, because you are paying the speakers, you're flying them in, you're putting them up in a hotel, there's a whole political side to things that you never encounter when you work virtually, as Camelot has often done. Now, in the early days, we did travel with a camera, but we did it dirt cheap. We did it by the seat of our pants, if you will. We didn't have all the bells and whistles, the lights and so on that we should have had probably, but we didn't stand on ceremony. We just got the good story. And so I can say that, having been on both ends of the spectrum, where I'm paying people on the one hand and on the other hand just trying to make it on my own, I have been very much involved in some of the games being played. And sure, I mean, whenever the stakes are higher, whenever money is involved, people get really strange. And I really don't want that to happen in my case, in our case. So far, what's happening with my channel right now is a miracle, because these people came out of nowhere when I put a notice out that I wanted to do this. I had no idea it would even work. Yeah. We didn't even understand the technology. I'm not a techie. I am pretty good technically. That's not the same as being a techie. But we're getting advice, and I've even have someone advising us behind the scenes from one of the works for the major type people, like, HBO, Showtime, that kind of thing. People are inspired by this drive to want to get the truth out. And so I think that kind of has a tendency to want to keep you afloat, because people do understand that they're working for the greater good, for something that's for all of us. And I'm depending on that. The other thing is having a forensic financial investigator in charge of, the sort of the books, so to speak. I feel that that's a good move, because not only has he put himself out on the line in public and written about financial fraud and all of the kind of things, but his head is in the right place. We are philosophically aligned, and I think that's crucial. So
transparency.
Going forward, I am offering shows to people that have never done shows before, and I don't care if they're intellectually good, if they've got their head together. It's often the case that you've got a hidden star there, and that's what I'm finding. I've got people that I'm thrilled to death that they're doing shows on my network already.
So for people to donate right now, obviously we've put the Indiegogo campaign link all over the screen as well. But if they just go there, they can make donations now to whatever they can afford, and that will count towards obviously the overall figure. Yeah. A bit of a crazy thing to say, what I'm going to say now, but maybe it's not. But when I was thinking of starting my network, I had to really think. Well, okay, this was when I was thinking of doing one. I'm not right now, but when I thought the only way maybe it could work is if there was some money coming in from somewhere else. And one idea was to have a psychic channel, but to do something different with it, to have it from a different perspective. Yeah, and I thought, well, maybe that was one way to bring in funding to support this other platform. I'm sure that's not something you're going to do, but that's where my head was at the time, because I was trying to really think, well, what could support it if it wasn't through donations.
Well, that's a good idea. I mean, I can say that we're hoping to do, the technology has really moved along. So you can have a player, embed the player in your website, and have ads served
right?
through
Yes, of course.
organizations such as DoubleClick, which is owned by Google, let me say, but nonetheless, and other organizations, so that you can actually serve ads. Everyone knows that on YouTube, YouTube is taking 45%. I think it's
something around that, or more,
and basically that's a huge cut. So we're looking for some kind of division that will be less so in that regard, where we can make more money, in essence. Certainly something you're talking about. I mean, maybe that's something I should consider. I don't know. I can say that we have a lot of things we want to do at Camelot. I've thought of having a dating site, for example. Wild as that sounds, because people in this sector often have trouble finding partners that believe and think as they do. And so that we thought that the thing is that Camelot is sort of a hub, always has been. And so what do you do with that audience, with that grouping of people that naturally are aggregated and sort of attracted to come together? There's so many things we can do together, you know what I mean? And so we have another plan to do a music website called musicwarrior.org. We've already put the site up and described what we have in mind. I'm probably going to do an Indiegogo campaign for that sometime in the near future, once I get this thing on the road. That's for musicians, because Camelot has always attracted musicians to want to do music that matters, music with a message, in essence. And so we ourselves, my partner is a musician, and we've written an album called Rebel Gene. And in that, I'm not a great singer, but I've done a lot of spoken word lyrics, and the lyrics are all written by me. And I sing like one song, I think it is, in the album so far. And we hope to do more in the future. But the bottom line is getting the message that I've been trying to get across all these years out in another format, which is music. And I'm always inspired by the 60s music and the fact that the movement for change had music to go with it. And so that's the inspiration behind Music Warrior. .org, and I would love to get that off the ground. We would like it to be something like Bandcamp, where we can help musicians make money selling their wares, their music, and so on. So these are just the beginning. We have lots of other plans and hopes and dreams. We want to get this going. We want to be able to work with other people, bring them in, make it possible for people in our sector to actually make a living doing what we love to do, communicating the truth. No harm in that. And really, hopefully, change the world and ourselves in the process.
Yeah, well, you can't ask more than that. You really can't. And I think, coming from that space, it's a beautiful thing. And I guess, you're heavily going with your intuition on this one as well. It's guiding you quite a bit, for sure. For sure. And yeah, I really, we're crying out for something like this, and that's why I've kind of contacted you, because it does need a network for us, and something that's a little bit different as well, and something that's coming from the right space, which is very important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
And I know I'd love to have talked to you about Project Camelot and other bits of some of the research aspects of your work and everything else. But I don't think it's about that right now. I think my purpose for this interview is really just to help you, give you some support for this Indiegogo campaign. So even if we can just bring some people over to you, that's all that matters right now.
That's incredible. Well, I can say that, it's kind of slow going, and we only have a few more weeks of the Indiegogo campaign. So people that are listening to this, please do consider that this is our opportunity. It's a window of opportunity. We're bringing these people together. They won't, I can't ask people to work for me for free forever. And so it's really, they're all sort of holding their breath and working their asses off to get this to happen and to make this a reality. And so are we. And so I hope that, I hope it takes off. I hope the idea has legs, as they say, and people understand the need for alternative networks. And I think if we can break the ground in doing this, that we will not be the only ones. That, radio has taken off like wildfire on the internet, and really people have shows and networks and all sorts of things. But really video, at live television, the setting in which we can do a live show, video on demand, around the clock channel really hasn't happened. There are very few instances that you could cite. Certain people like Alex Jones who have some kind of funding behind him where he's been able
How
to
is that
support
possible?
himself in
How
some
is
form
that
or
possible?
fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Look how. Yeah.
But this is an effort to bring a lot of people together. So we're going to have a lot of different points of view. We're going to cover everything under the sun, from free energy to alternative health to finance, and everything. Really, there are no limits, and I think that it's a great time for this. So I want to thank you, and it looks like you're doing a great job. Maybe I should invite you to have a show on the network as well.
Well, thank you very, very much. We'll speak about that off air, definitely. Well, thank you for the offer. That's very, very kind. Accepted. Don't worry.
Okay.
Well, look, Kerry, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. And for anyone listening to this, please check out the Project Camelot and see the great work that Kerry has been doing for all these years. And please support her. So, Kerry, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, we've come to an end on tonight's show. Don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on The More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You may also find out more on all past and upcoming guests on the show via themoreshow.co.uk. And do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe.